Everybody, this is My Starving Lion back with you on our All Things Minecraft series here on the Thundercraft public server. Like I told you in episode 1 and 1.5, this one is going to be on the basics of building. So before we get into actually building, we're going to talk to you a little bit about some more of the more basic stuff, and that is maneuvering. If you're not using a World of Minecraft client, you're just on your Minecraft.net game client there. You're going to use W for forward, A is left, D is right, S is backward, and space to jump. That's kind of your keyboard maneuvering controls there. And you'll get a little bit more used to those as you play more. Now, you're going to use your mouse to look around. So you're going to go left to look left, right to look right, up for up, down for down, so on and so forth. So that's your basic maneuvering. All right, so the most important block of the most important building block of building is actually placing a block. So what you're going to do is you're going to use your crosshairs. You're going to highlight one of these squares. And remember, on the Thundercraft server, just find some grass and you can build. If anybody else, if there's anything other than grass and trees, you can't build there because that's somebody else's. Even if it seems abandoned, they'll probably come back on and wonder where that was, and you'll probably get banned. So just go find some grass and build on your own little spot there. All right, so to place a block, what we're going to do is we're going to aim our crosshairs. We're going to use a right click, and we're going to place that. Now, the cool thing about Minecraft Classic, it's good and it's bad depending on whose opinion it is. Your inventory is quite a bit different. You don't actually craft anything, so you don't need to make pickaxes in order to actually destroy things faster, slower, or harvest things, because you don't actually have to harvest anything. And because of that, it's really easy to destroy things. You just use your left click and it's destroyed. One click to create, one click to destroy. Right click, create, left click to destroy. So let's go back to the inventory thing. It's a little bit different, so you don't actually craft, but you do actually have an inventory. But what it is called a block inventory. So here's your block inventory. You can get to it by hitting your B key on your keyboard, and that will bring it right up. When you open that up, you can go ahead and select one of those blocks. It will replace the highlighted block at the bottom of your screen. So there we go. All right, but at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see your block queue, and you can actually toggle through your block queue with the middle scroll wheel of your mouse or the numbers on your keyboard: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, respectively. All right, so you know your block inventory, you know your block queue, you know your maneuvering, you know how to place, you know how to destroy. So now let's talk about building. When I build, I like to kind of pre-plan a little bit. Think about what it's going to look like. Think about what materials I'm going to be using, how big it's going to be, so on and so forth. So what I like to do is I kind of create a hierarchy in my block queue. So I know that the biggest one we're going to be using is stone, so I make the stone in my slot number 1. I know we're going to be using iron, have that in 2. We're going to be using a mossy cobblestone, excuse me. I have that in 3. And I know that we're going to be using a black wool for the roof, which is just a texture. So I have number 4 selected here. I hit B, and I go ahead and go to my black wool. It's kind of a charcoal color, and that will actually replace that. So now I kind of have my hierarchy set up here. We're ready to build. Now, on Minecraft, you can build however you want. You can free build, whatever. I like to kind of do a more realistic builds since I'm really into mega builds. And they're a lot of fun to really go through because it feels more realistic when you're inside of them. So what I do is I always start with, obviously, a foundation. So what I do is and here's an important note to remember. If you're going to create something kind of pointy, that you want to have arches and maybe a peak, a really nice peak, you're going to want to have an uneven block length wall. Because what that does is it gives you a single block middle. If you want a more boxy, square, basic, you're going to do an even side because that gives you a 2-block center. So we're going to do a very basic build here. So we're going to do a 2-block center. So I'm going to aim my little crosshairs. I'm going to left click and start my foundation. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so that's even. Then I have one where I'm standing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so let's go ahead and finish squaring that back out here. And then we'll hop out and you can see our trench. There's the trench for our foundation. It is 12 by 8. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and select our stone here. in number 1, and we're going to go ahead and just fill it in. Now here's a common technique that's used. Go backwards and just simply right click to lay those blocks down. You can actually get pretty fast at this the more you do it, and that's kind of just one of those traits that you'll eventually learn. So here we go. Now we have the outline of our foundation. We want to kind of start, filling this in a little bit. So if you're me, you probably don't want a grass floor. We want to have something else besides grass. So I want to actually fill this in with iron. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all the grass. Got to dig it all out of there. And I kind of do it in a meticulous way because that's kind of just how I am. I do a lot of mega builds, so if I don't have some sort of a formula or structure, it can get really tedious, and oftentimes you'll just end up quitting. So, all right, so now we've got our foundation emptied out. Let's go ahead and throw down let's do an iron floor here, because I like the way iron looks. It's just, from the top, it's a real nice white. From the bottom, it's kind of a gray. From the side, it gives you a real nice chrome look. Here, obviously, we're going to be seeing just the top. So it gives a really nice, clean-looking floor here for us to build with. So here we go. Now we have our floor done. We're ready to start going up. We're going to use a common technique called pillaring. Now, pillaring is good, pillaring is bad. It's kind of like fire. If you come into Thundercraft and you just start making 1x1 pillars all the way up to the clouds and jumping off of them, because that is fun, yes, you're going to start filling up the landscape with 1x1s. 1x1s are ugly. We don't really like them. They're annoying. They take up a lot of space, and you'll probably get yourself kicked. So, common rule of thumb, if you do a 1x1 tower all the way to the clouds, delete it. So, build that 1x1 up, jump off, build a 1x1 up right next to it, and destroy that 1x1 as you're going up. So that's just a common thing. You can use 1x1s as a tool, but never just leave them standing because it can get really ugly and you'll get kicked. So in order to pillar, what you're going to do is you're going to jump, right click, jump, right click, jump, right click, jump, right click. All right, so there you go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and we're going to do that with all 4 corners. Start creating a 3-dimensional feel to our house here. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now that we have our pillars, we're starting to get a little bit more 3-dimensional. Let's connect everything. And we'll start getting a kind of a 3-dimensional feel for what this is going to look like. And as you can see over there, somebody's building. So it's kind of fun to see that updating as you're working. Nice thing is if you're a builder like me, it's nice to go on these servers and build so that you're not alone. And the good thing about Thundercraft is they really do keep griefers down, because it can get really frustrating if you're on a mega build and a griefer comes by, ruins everything, and it gets a little tough. But now we're ready to start kind of filling this thing in, putting some doors, putting some windows, actually making it look like a house. So we want to kind of choose which direction we want to look, and it looks like there are random orbs kind of showing up here, and that's kind of interesting. But we want to get a good view. We want to have something that looks pretty. We don't want to have to look out the window to something not pretty every day. So I think in the interest of solitude, let's go ahead and put it over here. We'll put the door right here. We're just going to do a 2x3 door here. We may close that up a little bit more later as we start honing that build, and then let's just go ahead and fill in the rest of it with some windows. Now, in order for windows to be different than doors, we got to put a little ledge here around the bottom. So there we go. So now we got our little ledge going on. We can actually go over here and start filling in some windows. So we're going to do 2x2 windows because we are on an even build. So 2x2, 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 all the way around. And of course, this side over here is going to be a lot more like, or exactly like the side opposite us. All right, so now we have a nice little outline of what our house is going to look like. Now, the thing about this is it's still really boxy. It's got multiple colors and good texture to it, but we want to really liven it up here a little bit. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the mossy cobblestone to fill in the rest of this and give it more of a textured feel. And we'll address kind of the flat issue here up next. So we're going to go ahead and fill in all these holes here with our mossy cobblestone. Give it another texture so that it really starts to pop a little bit. So like I said, we're going to have to deal with the boxiness of it. You know, you'll see good builds on Minecraft, and it's just amazing how three-dimensional they are. And that's the beauty of Minecraft. It's three-dimensional. So we want to make sure and use that to our full advantage. So a really simple trick that I'll use on houses like this is I'll just do a little hedged around the outside of it. Kind of makes it look like it's merged into its environment a little bit better. Kind of looks like there's more of a foundation to it. Gives it a more of a finished feel rather than just having grass go right up to the edge of your building. So now that we have our kind of hedge around the outside, we got everything filled in. Let's go ahead and throw some glass in this thing. We want to make sure that if it ever does rain here in the beautiful Thundercraft server, that it doesn't rain in the windows. So glass in Minecraft looks a little bit like this, if you could see it. And we're just going to go ahead and fill it in here. If you don't have it already in your your block queue, you can get that by pushing B. All right, so we're just going to fill in these 2x2, which is actually a 4 total block window. There we go. So now we actually have a closed-in house. But obviously you look up and, well, there's still blue sky, so we better put a roof on this thing. Now, on a house, you can easily do a flat roof, and flat roofs are cool. But like I said, we want to make sure it's very three-dimensional in order to have a really cool build. So here we go. What I like to do is put eaves on my houses, because if you don't have eaves, then it looks really flat. So let's go and put essentially the same thing as we did down here, only around the top, with our kind of charcoal color here. So whenever I'm doing something up high like this, I'll typically do it sideways. Just gives me a better way to aim. So we're going to go ahead and put the eave on the house, give it a little bit more of a three-dimensional build here. It looks really nice. All right, so now we're going to use pillaring to actually get up there and put an actual pitch on this roof. So what I typically do with a pitched roof is I'll go ahead and throw down one side and then start throwing down the other and just work them together here. So I don't have to do any more calculating. And you'll notice that I'm using pillaring to just elevate myself here a little bit and make sure I'm out of the way here. All right, so now you can see my pitch there. So let me go around the outside here and get the rest of my pitch. So I'm going to throw down here, 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 there, and just keep on going. What we want to do is make sure this is the exact mirror of the other side. Otherwise, they won't meet correctly in the middle. So, and that's not a mirror of that. So there we go. All right, so now I'm back down here on the ground. You can kind of see what that peak is going to start to look like. So let me go over here and pull down this pillar and go back up on the roof because I accidentally deleted too far. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and fill this in and make a roof out of it. So what we're going to do is just attach both sides here, if I can do that. Just like such. And of course there is a little bit of tediousness in this, but it definitely pays off when you got a good build. And people like to come around and look at your builds, and it's really cool. It's really nice to have those builds underneath your belt. So we're gonna go back down here on the other side. We're gonna go ahead and fill that in, just like such, and just like such on both sides. Get my body out of the way here. All right, now we've got a top here, and I actually want to put another peak up here on it. Just have a 2-block peak, and kind of give it that finished off peak look. So there we go. A lot of clicks, a lot of block by block creation there. So now you'll notice that we've kind of got a nice looking little house, but the eaves are all open, and we don't want that. So let's go ahead and fill those in with iron. So let's go ahead and fill that in. And then we'll address one more issue it's just kind of a cosmetic type of a thing for me. So as you look on the front of it, that roof is just so square. So we're going to get back up there, and we're going to actually extend that eave out, or extend the roof line out, with just to make it look a little bit more realistic there. And we're going to do that on the other side as well. See, it just looks better, kind of gives it a more finished feel there. All right, so let's go around the back here and finish it off right here. I'm going to go ahead and jump right-click just to pillar that out. Jump up there and get my eave finished and hit my 1x1. And we are ready to step back and look at what we built. So clearly you can see now a little bit of a way to make a three-dimensional house look really nice. It's really simple, really basic. It's got multiple textures, but it's nice and functional. It's nice and three-dimensional. It's got some good detail in it. You can fill it with some furniture and make it look really nice. So there is your introduction to building. I am My Starving Lion signing out.